Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is your host with the biggest nose, JC Courtside, coming at y'all on November 4th. And what a night of NBA basketball we had last night. I was going to stream the games on playback live. Link will be down below, as well as our Twitter, Discord server, main YouTube channel, Twitch, Kick, everything. All of our links will be down below, as well as our Apple and Spotify podcast. I was going to live stream some of the games last night, but then I sort of told myself, no, the games are just not that important. They're not going to be impressive tonight. And by golly, was I wrong. Today we got a little bit of a fun podcast. We're going to be breaking down a couple of the most important games from last night, the most entertaining as well. Not just that, we are going to be playing our segment Fact or Cap, where we decide if something is true or false. Now, this is going to be a pretty fun podcast, so I do have to ask all of you guys once again, as I do at the beginning of every show. Podcast listeners, be sure to leave a 5-star rating and review. And if you are watching or listening on YouTube, be sure to drop a like and subscribe. It helps more than y'all could possibly ever understand. Now, we got all that garbage out of the way. Let's get started with our very first game that we got to break down. And it started in Indiana, where a good friend of mine actually was at this game last night, rooting for Indiana, even though he's a Cavs fan. Giannis Antetokounmpo going absolutely freaking bonkers. Absolutely freaking bonkers, looking like a true MVP of this league. In case nobody knows, Giannis Antetokounmpo is averaging 34 points, 13.5 rebounds, and 7.5 assists, all while shooting 70% from the field. And he's just looked undisputed the best player. He got a buzzer beater win in Indiana. And quite frankly, the Bucks did not deserve to win this game. Indiana fought and fought and fought. You know, most casuals, they're not going to know who Talon Peter is, or Ray J. Dennis, even Tony Bradley, or Jeremiah Robinson Earl, or Mac frickin' McClung, a 2-time NBA dunk contest winner. When you look at this team, so you won't even know some of the starters with how many players are out. Quentin Jackson, Isaiah Jackson, Jarris Walker. I'll tell y'all this much, man. I did not expect Jay Huff and Johnny Furphy to be playing 14 minutes per game for the Indiana Pacers. But on the other side, the Milwaukee Bucks, and I can just tell you straight up right now, no ifs, ands, or buts. The Bucks have built a team where you can see this is arguably the best team that Giannis has had actually built around him. Now, don't call me crazy. I know. Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, but hear me out for a second. The shooting that Giannis has around him, he's never had in his entire NBA career. He has never had this before. They are shooting. They made 23s last night. They shot 42.6% from deep to Indiana's 8 for 33. Indiana had 16 more free throws than the Milwaukee Bucks. I would like to start off the top of this game as well before we dig too deep. Miles Turner booed in Indiana after serving 10 years. In the fourth quarter, the Bucks rattled off 8 3-pointers, not total, in a row. It was Ryan Hollins. It was Cole Anthony. Ryan Hollins again. Cole Anthony. This team... Oh, and then AJ Green hit like 3 of them in the fourth quarter. This team right now, they might not look like Bucks teams of past, but Giannis, 33 points, 13 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, 14 for 21 from the field. He shot 50% from deep. Not just that, Miles Turner with a triple single, 9 points, didn't have a great game. I think he was nervous going back home. Gary Trent Jr. returning for 11 points, 3 for 12 shooting. Horrible night. But I think it was his first one back. AJ Green, 4 for 8 from deep, 13 points. Ryan Rollins, not his best game of the season, but 10 points. Hit a couple threes in the fourth. That's very important. Cole Anthony off the bench. Listen, I told myself I'm not ever in a million years going to root for Cole freaking Anthony. Yet here I am rooting for Cole Anthony. I know he broke Jaden Ivey's leg. It wasn't on purpose. It was reckless, but it wasn't on purpose. Here he is, Cole Anthony, being a facilitator, being a defensive presence, being a point guard. 3 for 4 from deep, 4 for 8 from the field, 11 points, 4 assists, 1 steal. Cole Anthony, you have surpassed all of our expectations. Taurean Prince, you're a basketball player. Kyle freaking Kuzma, 15 points off the bench, 5 for 10. And I'll be honest, I watched the majority of this game. Kyle Kuzma may not pass the eye test 99% of the time, but something that Kyle Kuzma does that is unbelievable is he knows how to play basketball. Now, I know it may not look pretty all the time, but he knows the rotations of the offense. He knows where he should be and when he should be there. He knows the flow that Giannis wants to play at. Kyle Kuzma may not be the smartest, but he knows how to play basketball. Even if the shots aren't falling, he knows how to play basketball. Mind you, the Bucks are still missing Alex Porter. I was reading Alex Antetokounmpo. They're still missing Kevin Porter Jr. So this team, they could be dangerous. I think, yeah, Taurean Prince did the live crew in the Twitch stream reminded me that, yeah, Taurean Prince had a shot that hit the side of the backboard. Happens to the best of us. Happens to me. That's happened to me before. I remember that happened to me I was 13 years old versus Taurean Prince, who's in his 30s. This was an incredible game. I cannot understate Giannis Antetokounmpo getting that fadeaway over 2 defenders to win this game. Now, mind you, the Bucks were shooting lights out. They could not miss from deep in the fourth quarter. But Pascal Siakam doing what he does best and not rolling over. 32 points, 11 for 24 from the field. This guy, Isaiah Jackson, 21 points, 8 for 12 from the field. Jarris Walker, 18 points. Nesmith, 2 for 9 from deep, but 17 points. I've never thought I'd see the day. But the Milwaukee Bucks are competitive again. I did not expect this. Nobody expected this. The Pacers are having the most fun tank I've seen in a long time. Now, there's a couple teams that you look at and you're like, yeah, the Pacers, they did all they can, right? But they're actually doing all they can. The Pacers are not really losing ugly games here at all. They beat Golden State by 5. They lost by a buzzer beater against Milwaukee. They lost by 20 against Atlanta. I think that was the one blowout. But they lost against Dallas by 2. They lost to Minnesota by 4. Memphis, I guess that was a blowout. Damn, I didn't realize that. And then they lost in the double overtime in OKC to kick the season off. So at least they're making this tank entertaining. Maybe they can get a Cam Boozer, right? But all I can say is the Milwaukee Bucks are doing things that I don't think any of us expected. I think we all sort of assumed that the Bucks will win 40 games minimum because of one name, and that's Giannis. But what we're seeing the Bucks do right now, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. 20 made threes, attempting 47. Like I just watched, no spoilers, but I just watched the Boston Celtics put up 51 threes and lose. So it's not all about just taking the threes. You got to hit some of them. And Milwaukee, man, they're hitting a lot of them. They got a lot of shooters. And if you surround Giannis with shooters, that's a recipe for success. Unbelievable game. Mind you, quick little side note, ladies and gents. For my podcast listeners, again, if you guys do want visuals, be sure to go to the YouTube channel. It's Jay-Z Courtside. On top of that, I just upgraded my my recording / streaming PC, so I will be popping up footage of games that I'm talking about eventually. That's going to take a lot more work, but yes, eventually we will be popping up some visual footage, just like a NBA sports show that you would watch on ESPN if ESPN didn't suck. Next up, now this was a toss-up of games that I wanted to talk about, but I think this one is just not being talked about enough. Like, you check Twitter and people are talking about the Miami Heat, people are talking about the Milwaukee Bucks, people are talking about the Utah freaking Jazz. But I think this one team that it's finally, I'm happy that my podcast is covering the entire NBA and not just one team, because if I covered one team, I feel like I'd get bored very quickly. Sort of like video games. I was a video game content creator and I would cover one game and play one game, and I'd get burnt the hell out. Luckily, being an unbiased fan of basketball, I can talk about a bunch of teams whenever I want. And the next team I got up was the best performance from one individual player that I saw last night. Yes, I'm talking about better than Giannis' performance, James Harden's performance, Bam Adebayo's performance, and that's from two players on the Detroit Pistons. Cade Cunningham scoring 19 points in the fourth quarter to ruin Ja Morant's return to the Memphis Grizzlies after his deserved suspension. Now, this game had a lot. Now, in case you guys don't know, the Detroit Pistons came off of their win in Mexico City against the Dallas Mavericks, right? This game showed you that the Memphis Grizzlies put highlight on one duo, and it was Cade and Jalen Duren. The Pistons started this game off shooting absolutely horribly. They hit, I believe, 1 or 2 threes in the first quarter. They end up making 10 threes, shooting 32% as a team. Memphis hit 14 threes. Mind you, this is in Memphis. The Pistons have no shooting. That's their biggest struggle right now. If Duncan Robinson is getting heavily defended, we have no shooting. The Pistons have no shooting. So that's a tough spot. In case you don't know, Tobias Harris rolled his ankle in Mexico. So that inserted Isaiah Stewart, Beef Stew, into the starting lineup. And that sort of triggered PTSD because back in the day with Monty Williams, when the Pistons lost 28 games in a row, they had Isaiah Stewart and Jalen Duren in the same lineup together. And you realized that lineup doesn't work. But with JB Bickerstaff, he sampled it a couple times last season where he had both Isaiah Stewart and Duren on the court, and it worked. It worked. And now this year, we've been seeing it even more. We see Isaiah Stewart come in about 4 or 5 minutes into the first quarter in place of Tobias Harris. And then him and Duren just dominate the paint. Well, get this. It was an ugly game. Cade Cunningham, we can talk about him all day, but I won't. 33 points, 8 assists, 5 rebounds, 1 block, 12 for 20 from the field. His best three-point shooting of the season, shooting 3 for 6. He missed 4 free throws last night. Cade's got to practice his free throws. Something's going on with this year or it's just not looking good, right? The biggest highlight of Cade Cunningham's game was scoring 19 points in the fourth quarter. The Pistons were up 21 at the end of the third quarter. They were up 21. They broke the game wide open. And then at the end of the third quarter with a minute and a half left, the Pistons took Cade Cunningham out and ran this goofy lineup that I don't ever want to see ever again. And they lost that lead. The whole fourth quarter, Memphis was mounting. They were coming back, and then it looked like all hope was lost. And the Detroit Pistons were going to lose this one. And then Cade Cunningham comes in. He gets a layup. He gets an and one, misses the free throw. Gets Ja on the wing. ISOs Ja Morant. Step back mid-range from the free throw line. Cash. Very next possession. Size up. Pivot. Shoot the 3. Drained it. He went on a 9-0 run himself in a minute of play. 19 points scored in the fourth quarter. Won the Pistons the game. I think we can all put away the narrative that Cade Cunningham is a poor finisher around the rim. I think we have to retire that because that is not true. If Cade Cunningham gets into the hoop, if he gets into the paint, just say your prayers because he's not going to miss unless he's fouled. Cade Cunningham officially has made that leap. The last thing that needs to follow him this year is this three-point shooter needs to join him again. And last night, 3 for 6 is not bad. You'll take 50%. He needs to remain a threat from deep. Now, a couple highlights before I talk about the star of last night's show is Karis LeVert is starting to look like a horrible decision that the Pistons went and got. Now, they had to deal with the hand that they were dealt in signing a Karis LeVert after they lost Schroeder and Tim Hardaway and Malik Beasley. They didn't expect that to happen. But Karis LeVert has looked absolutely horrendous for the Detroit Pistons in his 2 games returning. It's not that he had 4 points and 2 for 4 from the field. It's just that he doesn't look comfortable. It looks like he gets scared every time he touches the ball. And that's why I've learned that he cannot be the primary ball handler. Now, this game was foul after foul after foul after foul, but Ron Holland came in with energy and had 12 points in the first half, even though he drew his third and fourth foul very early on into the game. That just, honestly, that does not allow Ron Holland to be Ron Holland. Ron Holland brings it one way, and it's 100% all the time on offense and defense. So Ron Holland is extremely, extremely, extremely improved. All he needs to do is play smarter and stop fouling as much. The man of the hour who I wanted to talk about. So obviously the Memphis Grizzlies saw what Jalen Duren did in Mexico City. So they were sort of trapping Jalen Duren every time he started cutting to the hoop. They were limiting the lobs from Cade and Duren. So instead, like I said, Tobias Harris was out. So they inserted Isaiah Stewart into the starting lineup, and Isaiah Stewart has the green light to shoot. And last night he was not shooting well from deep. He shot 2 for 8, but the biggest part about this is he hit both those threes in the fourth quarter, which ended up winning the Pistons this game, other than Cade's heroics at the end. Isaiah Stewart with a career high. Now we are back-to-back games where the Pistons big men have went for career scoring nights. Jalen Duren had 33 in Mexico. Now Isaiah Stewart has 26 points, 14 rebounds, 4 assists, wait for it, 4 blocks. 4 blocks. Imagine Isaiah Stewart was taller than 6'8", 6'9", if you're being generous. Imagine he was taller than 6'9". Isaiah Stewart, I thought all he does is fight. That's what Twitter tells me. All he does is fight. 26 points, 4 assists, 4 blocks, 14 rebounds. Absolutely unbelievable. The Pistons did their thing. And on the other side, the Memphis Grizzlies, it might be time, ladies and gentlemen. It might be time that we see something change in Memphis. Triple J, 8 for 14. He hit huge 3-pointers in the second half. He hit 4 of his threes, all of his threes in the second half. 21 points for Jaren Jackson Jr. 4 rebounds. He doesn't get rebounds. Obviously, this team is banged up. We haven't seen what they can do with Ty Jerome, Brandon Clark, Scottie Pippen, and Zach Edey. I think I'm over the Ja Morant era in Memphis. I think I'm over it. It is not looking good for them. Cedric Howard was a great pickup. What I will say is, thank God the Pistons didn't go and get Santi Aldama from Memphis, because he has not looked good. I don't know if he's hurt. He just has not looked good. Another play that happened this game is Vince Williams Jr. Who? Vince Williams Jr. was driving to the hoop after he missed the 3. They got the offensive rebound, so he was driving to the hoop, and Asar Thompson followed him. And then Vince Williams turned around and shoved Asar in the chest/neck area. And Asar looked at him and just walked away. And Asar got a technical foul for that. So that was a 3-point play because because mind you, Isaiah Stewart got a tech. Isaiah Stewart got a tech because he broke the fight up and then did his iconic point at Vince Williams. So it turned out to be a 3-point play for the tech on Isaiah Stewart, and then the 2 free throws that he would have later on. So that was a funny occurrence. But yeah, Cedric Howard, Cam Spencer was incredible for the Grizzlies. He hit 4 big threes this game. Missed the one in the clutch, but still great overall game. That's going to do it for that segment. Let's move on. Guys, be sure 5-star ratings and reviews for the podcast listeners, and YouTube, be sure to drop a like and subscribe. It helps more than y'all could possibly understand. Up next is sort of a compilation of some games last night. There's just a lot of good games last night, and I didn't want to talk about too many of them. So in this way, I don't need to dive that in depth about what I just did for the last few games. Okay. So first, we're going to start in Boston. My apologies, taking a sip of my beverage. We're going to start in Boston, where it was a pretty tight game throughout. The biggest lead was 14 by the Celtics. I'm going to read you a couple stats and try not to laugh. The Utah Jazz went 9 for 31 from 3. The Boston Celtics went 11 for 51. Did you hear me? The Boston Celtics took 51 threes last night and made 11 of them. That's 21% for you math magicians. Utah destroyed Boston on the glass. 55 rebounds to 36 rebounds. Okay? Boston had 12 steals. 12 steals. Utah had 18 turnovers. This team in Boston, I'm going to say something, and I feel like a lot of people will agree. So in case you didn't watch the ending of this game, it was foul fest. But on top of that, the most controversial play of that night was Jaylen Brown was ISO'd at the top of the key, burned 20 seconds off the shot clock, and then started his move way too late. There was 2.5 seconds when Jaylen Brown finally started to make his move towards the hoop. The defender slipped on the floor. He slipped and fell fully on the ground. Jaylen Brown then tripped on him. The Jazz went down the court, ooped it up to Lauri Markkanen, got a bucket. Okay. So Celtics wanted a foul. They wanted a trip call. In my opinion, if that were to happen to Cade, I would want a foul as well. It should be a trip. But the guy slipped on what looked like a wet spot. So that's what happened. And then the very next play, the Jazz are down 1. Jusuf Nurkic gets a putback layup to win the game. Now, when I tell you that turnaround hook shot from 2 feet looked like it was going to miss, he made it. Jusuf Nurkic. Something about this Jazz team has me so interested because I love the way they play. They were missing Walker Kessler, so Jusuf Nurkic got some play time. Kevin Love got some playing time. And when you see the way that this team plays, Keontae George, 31 points. Svi Mikhailuk shot horribly, 1 for 8 from deep. Lauri Markkanen, a smooth 20 points. Lauri Markkanen, you are a Detroit Piston. Taylor Hendricks got the start. 1 for 5, 2 points. Jusuf Nurkic got the start. 11 points, 11 rebounds. I'm telling y'all, man, this team is fun to watch. If you have not watched the Jazz game, I highly, highly, highly recommend watching them. Now, the Boston side. I'm going to say something, and I honestly got a little laugh out of this, right? I got a little chuckle. Right? So, the Boston Celtics are a team that I look at, and the fans at this point want to give up and just tank, right? I think there's one person on this team that does not want to tank. Obviously, the players don't want to tank. They don't want to lose games, right? But I'll tell you somebody who really doesn't want to lose these games, and it's Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown is trying so unbelievably hard to not get the insult, the blame. He wants to show that he could be a number 1. Jaylen Brown had 36 points last night. He missed all 9 of his threes. He didn't make a single one. Jaylen Brown is trying so damn hard to win these games, and he's just not. They're 3-5. Boston is losing these games that they would be winning if they had Tatum, if they had Jrue Holiday, if they had Tingus Pingus, if they had Al Horford, if they didn't lose their entire team, they'd be winning these games. But when you when you are allowing Josh Minott to start, Neemias Queta, when you're giving Anthony Simons bench minutes, it's not a recipe for success. Boston, I feel for him. I truly do. But Jaylen Brown does not want to lose these games. And you can tell. It's actually very funny watching the way he plays because he does not want to lose. I mean, nobody wants to lose, but Jaylen Brown really doesn't want to lose. He does not want the blame for this team being bad. Now, let's travel out west to a game that I fell asleep at halftime for. And it is the Miami Heat taking on the Los Angeles Clippers on the night of a back-to-back, on the second night of a back-to-back. Now, this one was very interesting. I have a Heat fan in my Twitch chat, my live crew, that demanded that I talk about this game, and I was planning on talking about it. I feel like he only watches me so that he can hear about his Miami Heat because he misses the live streams and the podcast when the Miami Heat lose. But now that they won, of course, he's here and active, right? Which is something that you should do. You should watch these live on Twitch, Jay-Z Uncut on Twitch and YouTube. Link will be in the show notes down below. I had to watch the condensed version of this game in the morning because I missed the entire second half. But all I'll say is the Miami Heat tried their best to pull a Miami Heat in this game. They tried. They tried to lose this game. Part of the reason being is James Harden decided to turn back the clock and show the world that he's still James Harden. And that sort of leads me to my next point of why did Kawhi Leonard get the last shot of the game? I thought it was great that Andrew Wiggins left Derrick Jones Jr. and instead double teamed Kawhi Leonard, because I think we all knew that he was going to take that shot. He was not going to pass. He was not going to pass. Kawhi Leonard was a -7 on the court. 27 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals, 2 blocks, 2 turnovers. He shot 10 for 21 from the field and 2 for 8 from 3. So I'm going to regurgitate this again. Why does Kawhi Leonard get the final shot when he's shooting 2 for 8 from deep? When you have James Harden with 29 points, 7 rebounds, 8 assists, +1, and shot 6 for 10 from deep, 8 for 15 from the field. This game should have gone to James Harden at the end. Unfortunately, Kawhi wanted to turn up and try to get the game winner. So that's what happened. Now, everything in hindsight, but James Harden had already knocked down 3 threes in the fourth quarter. That's my biggest reasoning as to why James Harden should have gotten this. I don't think that's a miss. I genuinely don't. Unfortunately, it was. Now, for the Miami Heat, I will say this, and I will scream it to the heavens. When I ranked the top 10 centers going into this NBA season, I had Ivica Zubac over Bam Adebayo. And I said, and I quote, and I will take this to the grave, I said Bam Adebayo has the potential to jump into this top 5 or fall out of the top 10. This was based off of last year's progression, this was based off of last year's outcome. Bam Adebayo, I had, I believe, at the 8th best center in the NBA, and I said he could either be top 5 or he can fall out of the top 10. It's up to Bam Adebayo where he wants to be going into the season. It was based off of last season where Bam will tell you how bad he was all last year. Bam Adebayo was shooting at lowest efficiencies, lowest shots taken in the paint, and he was absolutely horrible all last year. Bam will tell you that firsthand. And I said 100 times over in that podcast where I ranked the top 10 centers from based off of last season, I said Bam Adebayo is the only player on this list that has the potential to go from 8 and jump up 3 to 4 spots easily. Now, I don't think I have him over Alperen Şengün. I think based off of what I'm seeing so far this year, I think I still have Alperen Şengün over him. But I think you could easily put Bam over a Domantas Sabonis, over an Ivica Zubac at this point. And if you want to put him over Alperen Şengün, I completely understand that. I think Bam is showing that he is truly a top 5 center in the NBA right now. What I will say is he's shooting the 3 at his most efficient rate right now, and he's taking the most 3s in his career, which is awesome. This is going to go very, very underrated, but Andrew Wiggins has been godsend to the Miami Heat. I've said it a few times prior, and he really reminds me of Harrison Barnes out in San Antonio. He reminds me of Tobias Harris up in Detroit. It's that steady veteran that you need in the lineup that knows how to play basketball, knows where he should be, knows what he should do, dropping 17 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, +9 on the court, 7 for 12 from the field, and 3 for 5 from deep. Andrew Wiggins is always ready. He stays ready, so he doesn't have to get ready. Bam Adebayo dropping 25 points, 10 rebounds, 10 for 18, 2 for 4 from the field. Norman Powell in his return, 21 points. I mean, hey, man, the Clippers blessed the Miami Heat by giving him this man. You wanted Bradley Beal over Norman Powell? Go crazy. Pelly Larson is looking like an NBA player every day. What I will say about the Miami Heat is I think they need to make a decision here. I think Eric Spoelstra really aggravates me because of how much he changes the starting lineup. Now, part of the reason is because of injuries. Norman Powell was out, but I am not looking forward to the day when Tyler Hero comes back and he decides to take Pelly Larson out and play Davion Mitchell at the 1, but really at the 2. Genuinely. Because Davion Mitchell has shown you so many times at this point that he looks great at the 1. And I want him to facilitate and allow Tyler Hero to play off the ball. With a Norman Powell, with a Bam Adebayo, this team could look very scary. I'm not just saying that. Jaime Jaquez Jr. had a horrible game. He was definitely the point of emphasis for the Clippers. 6 points, 6 rebounds, -1, 3 for 9 from the field, 0 for 2 from deep. Khalil Ware had his best game of the season, undisputed. This is why I don't buy too much into the plus minuses, because Khalil Ware was a -1, but when he was on the court, it looked like the Miami Heat could truly be a championship team last night. 16 points, 5 rebounds, 6 for 8 from the field, 2 for 2 for deep. That corner 3 looked beautiful. I think the most underrated thing about that nobody's really talking about for the Miami Heat is the man that might have a bigger nose than me in Nikola Jovic. I'm going to say this, and I hope I don't sound like a hater when I say this. Nikola Jovic, can you please do me a favor? I always make fun of all of my cousins who got nose jobs. Can you please get a nose job? This is for your own safety, sir. Because when you turn on the TV screen, I quite literally feel like I'm in a 3D movie theater. Your nose is going to get broken. There should be a FanDuel vote, right? There should be an actual line where it's how many times is Nikola Jovic going to break his nose in the season? I think he broke it twice last year. There should be an over-under line for that because I would go on the over. I think Nikola Jovic has been, sorry, I got off topic. I think Nikola Jovic has been the most disappointing, one of the most disappointing players in the league by far. Not just for the Miami Heat, but across the entire league. Nikola Jovic had so much promise, so much like hype built up for him, mainly from Miami Heat fans. But 18 minutes, he lost his starting spot because Spo doesn't like him because he just ends every possession. He ends every single possession. The moment he gets the ball, he's not swinging that extra pass. 7 points, -18, the game low on the court. 2 for 5 from the field and 0 for 1 from deep. Nikola Jovic has been incredibly disappointing, and Simone Fontecchio has lapped him entirely, and I hate Simone Fontecchio. Mind you, I only hate Fontecchio because he was horrible with the Pistons, and now all of a sudden he's good. I think Nikola Jovic has been incredibly disappointing, but this game was incredible. It was a really, really good game. It had a lot of things that make a basketball game great. I think you can do the if, ands, or buts or whatever. I've said it before, but the Detroit Pistons, you're going to see why I'm bringing them back into this conversation. The Detroit Pistons are 5-2 this year. The Detroit Pistons have won 3 in a row right now, right? They are winning games primarily against the Houston Rockets, the Boston Celtics, the Memphis Grizzlies, the Dallas Mavericks, right? Forgetting another team, but whoever it is, we beat them. The reason why I mentioned the Pistons is because they're winning games that they would normally lose. This team, when against the wall, when facing controversy, they lose the games. The Miami Heat are sort of playing they have that same mentality as the Detroit Pistons. They are winning games that last year they would have lost every day of the week. And that's where I'm noticing. That's what I'm paying attention to the most for the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat are reminding me a lot about the Detroit Pistons. They have that steady vet and Andrew Wiggins cohesive with Tobias Harris. They are winning these games that I watched last year. They crumbled. For Miami Heat fans, you should be extremely ecstatic with how this year started, but I am warning you. Be cautious about Tyler Hero's return because I think I know how this is going to go. I'm not going to manifest anything, but I would be worried if I was a Heat fan. Last but not least, I want to talk about this very briefly. The Los Angeles Lakers going 6-2 and getting their revenge against the Portland Trailblazers. I don't want to talk about this game too long. It was sort of a snooze fest, I will be honest. Rui Hachimura, 28 points. DeAndre Ayton, 29 points, 10 rebounds, 14 for 15. 14 from 19 from the field. Marcus Smart getting the start along with Jake LaRavia and Dalton Connect. This team was missing everybody. The Los Angeles Lakers were missing everybody. Live crew, you hear me, YouTube chat? You hear me, Twitch chat? You hear me, playback chat? You hear me, guys? Podcast listeners, leave a 5-star rating review and watch these live, man. We do them live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern. There's a guy named Nick Smith Jr. who was a two-way player for the Los Angeles Lakers. He had 25 points off of the bench. He hit 5 for 6 from deep, 10 for 15 from the field. Are you kidding me? Nick Smith Jr.? How I know Marcus Smart shot horribly from last night, but 9 points, 5 assists, 2 rebounds, 3 steals. He's everywhere. The Los Angeles Lakers should celebrate all of these wins for multiple reasons. They're winning all of these without LeBron James. They're winning these without Luka Doncic. They're winning these without Austin Reeves. That's right. All 3 of them, including Gabe Vincent, were all out last night. I said it before, the Austin Reeves, like the games that they won with Austin Reeves being their number 1, they should have celebrated. Because you're winning these without Luka, that's impressive. Now they're winning it without Austin Reeves, without Luka, without LeBron, without Gabe Vincent, without Maxi Kleber. All of these rotational guys and starters that you have and are not playing. Tiago Splitter's doing a great job with the Trailblazers. Denny Advia, I love you. 33 points, 10 for 20 from the field, 3 for 9 from deep. Shaedon Sharpe is finally getting going, 23 points. Jeremy Grant is off the bench now because they're allowing Denny Advia to start. I think that's a huge, huge, huge smart move. Excuse me, from Tiago Splitter. Shout out Tiago Splitter because I don't think Chauncey Billups was going to start Denny Advia this soon into the season. Jeremy Grant, his plus minus is pretty low, but when he comes into this court, he shows you that effort and he gives you points, he gives you rebounds, he gives you defense, he gives you a lot. Oh, sorry, he doesn't give you defense, but you get the point. Denny Advia should be a starter for this Portland Trailblazer team. He should be playing as much minutes as he did last night. Denny Advia is one of the most underrated players in the NBA, and if you have not seen him play, I highly recommend it. Denny Advia is a sight to see, man. It's a sight to see. 33 points in 36 minutes is absolutely incredible. Lakers getting that win, though, 123 to 115, and that is going to end the segment of me breaking down the crazy finishes from last night. Now, I'd like to move on to our next segment where we play Fact or Cap. And that's, I brought 3 facts or caps to the show, and I'm going to give you my honest opinion. All right, here we go. At number 1, fact or cap, Giannis is the MVP of the league. If this thing were to end today, Giannis has my vote. I think it's undisputed. Like I said earlier, Giannis Antetokounmpo is averaging 34.5 points, 13.5 rebounds, 7.5 assists, all while shooting 70% from the field. 70% from the field. In the games this year, Giannis has dropped 37 points, 31 points, 40 points, 37 points, 26 points. This guy has looked absolutely unbelievable. And then, of course, the last night, what do you have? 33, I think. 33. I'm going to say something, and I want you to actually hear me when I say this. Please. Do you guys remember? Of course you do. I don't know why I'm asking. Russell Westbrook, his MVP season. They were I want to say 6th seed. 6th, I believe. And he won it because he averaged a triple-double first time in a long, long time from Oscar Robertson, right? Giannis Antetokounmpo, if he continues to average 30-plus points, let's say he gets a top 4 seed in the East, and he's still averaging these same numbers, if anybody not named Giannis Antetokounmpo wins this MVP, I think it might be rigged. Now, hear me out. I can pretty much guarantee you the NBA does not want to give Shai Gilgeous-Alexander a back-to-back MVP. The league doesn't love Shai like that. They don't want to say that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a 2-time MVP back-to-back winner. Now, Here's the trick. Here's the kicker. Here's the kicker. If the NBA wants to give Nikola Jokic his 4th MVP, they're going to give him his 4th MVP this year. No debate. End of discussion. If the NBA wants to throttle Nikola Jokic into the upper echelon of NBA lore history, then they are going to give him his 4th MVP this year. Not any other year, not next year, not 2 years from now, not 4 years from now. They are going to give it to him this year to then have him in the conversation of the LeBrons, of the Michael Jordans, of the Kareem Abdul-Jabbars. And if the NBA wants him to be in that conversation, he's gonna get it this year. But in my honest opinion, if Giannis keeps it up like this and he goes on and he gets a top 4 seed in the East, who else is the most valuable player? You remove Nikola Jokic from the Denver Nuggets, they might still be a play-in team, right? They might still. It's not out of the question where you say if you remove Jokic, they're just an automatic dud, right? If you remove Shea from the Oklahoma City Thunder, they're still a top 6 seed minimum. They're a playoff team is what I'm trying to say. You take Shea off the Thunder, they're a playoff team. You take Jokic off Denver, they're still a play-in team out west. If you take Giannis Antetokounmpo off of the Milwaukee Bucks and look at this roster, they very well might be one of the worst NBA teams I have ever seen in my entire life. And I am not saying that. That is no exaggeration. That I am not dramatizing anything. Let me read you this roster, and you tell me if I'm crazy. Ryan Rollins, Gary Trent Jr., AJ Green, Bobby Portis, Miles Turner, Taurean Prince, Amir Coffey, Kyle Kuzma, Cole Anthony, Jericho Sims, Andre Jackson Jr., Gary Harris, Kevin Porter Jr., Mark Sears, Thanasis Antetokounmpo, Pete Nance, and Alex Antetokounmpo. Okay? So I'm going to say this one more time for the live crew, for all the podcast listeners. If you remove Nikola Jokic off of the Denver Nuggets, you have to think whether or not they can still be a play-in team. Not playoff, play-in. Because I think they'd still be a play-in team in the West. If you remove Shai Gilgeous-Alexander off the Oklahoma City Thunder, undisputed still playoff team. You have a guy that dropped 40 in the finals. You have Chet Holmgren. You have Isaiah Joe. You have Aaron Wiggins. You have AJ Mitchell. Alex Caruso. Lou Dort. Kenrich Williams. Isaiah Hartenstein. They are undisputed still a playoff team. But the fact of all of this, if you remove Giannis off of the Milwaukee Bucks, he is undisputed an MVP because the Milwaukee Bucks would not just be one of the worst teams in the NBA. They would be one of the worst teams in NBA history. You can book that. It is a fact that Giannis is currently the MVP of this league. Let's move on to our next factor cap. The Lakers are championship contenders. They just won without Austin Reeves, without Luka Doncic, without LeBron James, without Gabe Vincent, without Maxi Kleber. And they still beat the Portland Trail Blazers, okay? They are winning these games with Luka somewhat seamlessly, flawlessly. These have not been that close of games. And yet the Los Angeles Lakers keep on winning. Now, why is that? I'm going to say something that could ruff a little feathers off of some people. But JJ Redick is an excellent NBA coach. He is an excellent coach. He did the best he could with his roster last year. But here he is right now. And they are looking dangerous. They lost against Golden State in the season opener. They smacked Minnesota. They beat Sacramento. They lost to Portland. They beat Minnesota. They beat Memphis. They beat the Heat. And now they beat the Portland Trail Blazers. Of these teams, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 playoff teams. Possibly 7. Mind you, they have played the most games out of any team in the league. They have played 8 games. This has been an incredible start from the Los Angeles Lakers, and I don't think it should go unnoticed. They're up against a lot very good teams. They're up against the most teams played so far this season. I very well think the Los Angeles Lakers, yes, I think this is a fact. I think the Lakers are championship contenders. I know what we're saying. We're just 8 games in. But from what I've seen with this team, from what I've seen with DeAndre Ayton, 29 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, all without the 3 best players. This was DeAndre Ayton as the number 1. This was Rui Hachimura at the number 2. And you still pull out that win? I've already said it. But Jackson Hayes with Luka Doncic? Mwah! DeAndre Ayton with Luka Doncic? We don't know yet. LeBron James with all of this. If LeBron can come in and just be a super version of Draymond Green, this team is terrifying. I would not want to verse them in the playoffs. If LeBron James can just suck it up and not be the primary ball handler for this team, he very well could be the piece that this team is missing. If we see LeBron come in and be ready to not be forced to bring the ball up the court, man, just go do your thing, go sit in the corner, sit in the dunker spot, go do whatever. You ain't got to do it all. You got Luka Doncic. You are not the best player on your team anymore. What I'm seeing from Luka, I've never quite seen in an NBA player before. And yes, because they have that one name on this team, Luka Doncic, they are championship contenders. That is a fact. That is a fact. Now, finally, our last fact or cap. The Mavericks lost the trade. I hate to do this to my Mavs fans. I had to just watch more. You could have said this last year. You could have said this at the trade deadline last year. A lot of people said this at the trade deadline last year. I held out. I waited. I wanted to see, is Nico Harrison just a hidden genius? Is he just an Albert Einstein that none of us, is he playing chess while we're playing checkers? Is there something that Nico Harrison saw that millions and millions and millions of basketball fans like myself just didn't see? The answer is no. The Mavericks lost the trade. You don't trade a generational talent that took you to the finals the year before because he was overweight. You don't trade a guy that took you to the finals the year before because he was fat, because he liked smoking hookah, because he liked drinking beer. You don't do that. And he did that. Not just for an average player. He traded for an elite player in Anthony Davis, but one that constantly gets hurt more than Luka Doncic throughout his entire career. He said defense wins championships. We want to build around defense. Well, Nico Harrison, you guys still technically are a top 10 defense in the NBA right now, but you're relying on a rookie who can't shoot, can't pass, can't create his own shot, can't create shots for others, and got blocked by Amen Thompson late in the game, losing to the Rockets last night. You got blessed with Cooper Flagg. Had you not won that NBA draft and got Cooper Flagg, there'd be pitchforks out your house. And now you're seeing Cooper Flagg, an 18-year-old kid, can't just come in and save your franchise, can't save your name. Somewhere behind the scenes, I have a feeling Nico Harrison is telling Jason Kidd, no matter what happens, Cooper Flagg is your point guard. Cooper Flagg is your point guard. Because if I were Jason Kidd, Jason Kidd's a very smart man. He's a very smart coach. He would have put D'Angelo Russell in the starting lineup and allowed Cooper Flagg to learn how to play off ball. And the fact that he's not tells me that there's a voice behind him doing this. The live crew said that Nico wouldn't be there if they didn't get Coop. I fully agree. This was not calculated in any way. This was not rigged. For the people saying that this was rigged, that the Dallas Mavericks won the draft. So Kyrie Irving, it was planned all along that he would tear his ACL, right? Because that's the only reason why they fell as low as they did. I can finally tell you, with a full mind, release of anger, stress, anxiety, that on November 4th, 2025, I can officially state this is a fact. The Mavericks lost the trade of Luka Doncic. You don't trade somebody that just has to lose a little bit of weight. You don't trade somebody that likes to have fun, likes to smoke a little nargila, likes to drink beer. You don't trade him because he's slightly overweight. Because guess what? The guy that you traded for in Anthony Davis is not only injured, he's also fat. I don't know what they're feeding the Dallas Mavericks players down there, but I've never seen Anthony Davis go up 2 bra sizes until he has right now. The Dallas Mavericks have lost the trade. That is officially a fact. And that's going to do it, y'all. That's going to do it. I hope you guys enjoyed today's podcast. If you did, podcast listeners, 5-star ratings and reviews, please and thank you. YouTube watchers and listeners, be sure to drop a like, subscribe if you are new. It helps more than y'all know. And remember, guys, we are doing these live on Twitch, on YouTube, on Playback, on Kick. Tomorrow we'll be adding TikTok into the mix. The next day we'll be adding Twitter into the mix. So be sure to follow all these platforms. The links will all be down below in the show notes. Daily Pick'ems. Let's see what kind of NBA games we have tonight going around the league. We have the Milwaukee Bucks on a back-to-back against the Toronto Raptors in Toronto. Then we have our game on Peacock. The Magic are traveling to Atlanta. So first, I'd say I have the Raptors beating the Bucks. The Raptors are hot right now. I think I got the Raptors beating the Bucks, unless Giannis goes absolutely berserk. But I think they have enough arsenal to slow him down. Not stop him, but slow him down. I got this is tough. I got the Magic going for 3 in a row and beating the Atlanta Hawks in Atlanta. Up next, I got the Chicago Bulls beating the 76ers and moving to 6-1. They're at home. I think I got the Bulls winning that one. And then we got some heavy hitters here. Maybe we should go on Playback and watch this live tonight. We got the Charlotte Hornets traveling to the 0-6 New Orleans Pelicans. That one's going to be a nail biter. Give me the Pelicans for the first ever win. They're going to beat the Charlotte Hornets. And the last 2 games of the night, I am not staying up to watch this one. Hold on. This one I'll catch the first half. We have the Phoenix Suns traveling to Golden State. I think Golden State's going to end their cold streak, and they are going to win in Golden State. And then, 11 o'clock, Adam Silver, what have you done to my league? This game starts at 11, which really means it starts at 11:10, which really means this starts at 11:25 because every game is suffering from these shot clock malfunctions before the game. What is going on with the shot clocks? Why are the circle shot clocks breaking right now? I am not staying up until 11 at night, 11:20 at night to watch this game. Thunder Clippers, I will watch the condensed version. Give me the Thunder. They're going to move to 8-0. I'm not taking against the Thunder unless they're against the Pistons. I'm not going against the Thunder. And that's Daily Pick'ems, y'all. Do with that what you will. That's Daily Pick'ems. Ladies and gentlemen, again, be sure to leave a 5-star rating review on podcast listeners and YouTube. Be sure to drop a like. I see a lot of live likes happening right now in the YouTube. Shout out the live crew over there. Thank you for dropping the likes and subscribing. I appreciate y'all. We are still going to be live on Twitch, ladies and gentlemen. We typically end our YouTube stream and then we remain live on Twitch. So the Twitch is JZ Uncut. The link will be down in the description. Ladies and gentlemen, again, I got nothing left to say except for thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. And as always, guys, thank you for watching / listening. I'll see you tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern, live. Tune in. All right? Appreciate y'all, man. Have a blessed rest of your day.